and today we'll be exploring the Japanese religions and their history. So, there are three main religions we're going to discuss today. First being popular religion, second being Shinto religion, which is the ancient religion of Japan, and finally Buddhism, which was introduced later but is still very prominent to this day in Japan. So during the early period, popular religion, highlighting the concept of kami, which means spirits, was the main religion of Japan, the religion of kami. So kami's spirits inhabited different places like forests, streams, rocks, beautiful objects, and the people of Japan built shrines to honor them in those various places. Now, an interesting thing about kami is that it developed into Shinto later, and when it developed into Shinto, a higher power was consolidated, a power known as the Amaterasu, which is the higher god, and this spirit was, she was the goddess of the sun, so the sun had a very symbolic meaning for Japanese religion. So again, during the early period, there was obviously a story of creation that is very similar to the Genesis from the Judeo-Christian perspective. Instead, there were actually a god and a goddess, and during their coupling, the world was created, and rather Japan was created, which was the center of the world. During the pre-classical period, Shotoku was the prince of Japan. Japan was under his kingdom, and when he was in rule, he introduced Buddhism, which developed to be very strong in Japan. So he brought Buddhism from China, from Mahayana Buddhism, and he built shrines and statues to honor the Buddha. And so Zen Buddhism was introduced. Later we'll see a different form of Buddhism that was introduced to Japan, but first it was Zen Buddhism which was introduced. And it was introduced with three jewels of Buddhism. The Buddha, obviously, who was the creator of Buddhism, the Dharma, which is the way of life and also the spinning circle of creation, and the Sangha, which was the community of Buddhist monks, which was honored in Japan and everywhere else that practiced Buddhism. During the classical period, the other form of Buddhism, Pure Land Buddhism, was introduced to Japan. The Amida Buddha was the main central figure in Pure Land Buddhism, and themes such as enlightenment through meditation, relying on the power of others through meditation and communal meditation, and impermanence, which means that nothing here is going to last forever, were the three main themes of Pure Land Buddhism. Now, during the pre-modern period, there was really a mix of religions in Japan. So, obviously Shinto religion, that we discussed earlier, Buddhism, which came right after, and Confucianism. This was an ancient Chinese religion that was introduced to Japan, and finally Christianity, which was brought over by colonizers that came to Japan. So, in conclusion, something very interesting about Japan is that no matter what tradition or religion was introduced to Japan, there are three permanent themes that were common to all of them. They tended to be accepting of one another. They were not exclusive in any way, and there was a harmony formed, so you could practice both Buddhism and Shinto tradition and be equally worthy of praise by both sides, as well as syncretism. So when Christianity, for example, reached Japan, it was modified in a way that spoke to modern tradition. Thank you very much, and I'll see you again next time on whatever project I'm doing.